Hello, everybody. Here we are. We are back for some Disco Discusses Dungeons and Dragons. Below me is Blue. Next to me is Anthony. Unfortunately, Ian couldn't join us today, but we have.
Saying Anthony, unfortunately.
No, Anthony. We're
He
very
was.
fortunate. Anthony's here. Unfortunately, Ian can't join us, which is why we have this amazing flail snail Rio Del Mar mascot in his stead. How's it going, friends? How are we doing today?
I have to tell you that I had a dental procedure earlier, so I'm still very numb here. So if I sound a little strange sometimes, that's why. I'm
Okay.
You don't
touching my
sound
cheek.
strange.
I'm not, my chin, and I'm not feeling it.
I want to see you
Not
drink some
feeling it.
water and it
Stop it.
pour out of your
Yeah.
mouth.
Yeah. So anyway, other than that, I'm fine. Thank you.
Um, Blue, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And I hold the opinion that Virgos are good.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
share
want
that
to
opinion.
do you want to
And
explain this battle that you both
no,
were
we're
having
having a
backstage?
debate about Scorpios and Virgos. And
Not
I'm
a
just
debate. That's
saying
a very Virgo thing to call it a debate when it wasn't a debate.
it was a debate.
Anyway, as an Aries Taurus cusp, I am correct. Let's dive in, friends. We had an exciting, thrilling. Like I've even got like I'm doing the stack thing. Anyway,
Oh my
we got
God.
an exciting, thrilling
Very Letterman.
episode. I really do embody the spirit of David Letterman, don't I? Uh, we were joined by none other than Mary Wiseman's Herman Lerman, which was very exciting. He led you all on an adventure to the first he gave his lecture, which
Very
was
badly, very poorly.
disaster on all ends. If I remember correctly, nobody passed,
No.
including Herman Lerman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you all missed out on 40,000 gold, which was the reward if you passed, but nobody got that. You then went to we're just doing an episode recap. I know there's questions, but I'm getting into an episode recap. How does that sound?
You sounded
I mean,
angry about
it's-
it.
I am
More-
angry. It is, yeah. All right. Let's do a question. Let's skip the episode recap. Let's go straight to a question. I like to keep people on their toes. They don't know what's coming next. You never know what you're going to get out of me. And that's why I'm such a reliable and useful and whatever I am. Anyway, a lot of the questions that we had from our lovely subscribers on our subscriber Discord were related to like our how we came up with our characters, including the NPCs. Dom J Raven, thank you for subscribing. Was curious, is there anything you personally relate to in your character?
That's interesting.
Yeah. I think so. I think the overly anxious probably. Yeah. For sure.
Is there anything in your character where you're like, this is nothing like me?
The way that they handle their friendships, like the way they
Handle the
communicate with
friendships.
their yeah.
Were you waiting for me to say something?
We're actually going to skip you and move on to the
Yeah.
next thing here, Anthony.
I think that I share a kind of loyalty that Tizrin has, but I think I'm a little more worldly than he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bitter Nerdet. I think I said that right. Thank you for subscribing. They were curious, like what made you choose your class and race? Was it, were you excited to play this class for the first time? Did it match up with the character idea in your head? What inspired you to choose wizard, monk, Aarakocra? You're a human, right, Blue?
I'm
I
a
forgot.
human, yeah.
I totally forgot.
This was actually a character idea I had a while ago when I did the thing that I did when I was a kid when I first started getting back into D&D, which is like just start thinking up a million characters and just imagining what they might be. And I really don't remember the exact thing. I'm very interested. I'm really interested in like the animal kind of hybrid people characters, just because I love animals, and so that's intriguing to me. But you don't know. I kind of don't want to spoil the sort of quote unquote origin story of Tizrin, but there was just something about thinking about him flying around and then wanting to become a monk. The reasons why he wanted to become a monk resonated for me. So I don't want to spoil it without, because I think if it ever comes up in the game, I think that might be a little more interesting, maybe.
Would you ever play a different animal creature like the Harrington or Loxodon?
Absolutely, yes, 100%, yes.
Okay.
I would like a homebrew. I would like to do like a fox folk person.
Ooh,
because I love fox.
Foxfolk is actually probably the best name
That's really cool.
I've heard so far of all those animals.
Yeah.
Foxfolk, well done. What about you, Blue? What my cat is biting me. What inspired your wizard and the human decision?
Yeah, I have a tendency with so many D&D characters to like put too much, like layer too many things onto it around surrounding the class and the race, and then kind of like not being able to focus on all of it or not give it all the attention that I want. So and for this, especially since we were doing it in a school setting, I was like, I really just want to focus on this kid's emotions. And so I was like, I'm not gonna focus on the race. So the race is just gonna be human, because I'm gonna be too like trying to fit a lot of stuff into it.
Oh, who do we lose? Oh my
We
God.
lost.
We lost darling Anthony. Hold, please.
We lost our Anthony.
Technical difficulties. Sorry.
We back. We're looking good. We're looking powerful. Oh my God. Welcome to us absolutely killing it. This is amazing. Blue. All right, we're back. Blue had an amazing answer. Totally forgot what it was. It
wasn't
perfect,
that
though.
good. It wasn't that interesting. I just didn't want to. I just wanted to focus on his emotions, so I made him a human, and so I didn't have to focus on the race backstory with him. And I like wizards. I like magic. I don't like not casting magic in this game.
It is
What
hard.
about like?
Yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
Well, what about other spell-based classes, though? I'm just curious. Like, why wizard more than sorcerer, more than druid, more than cleric, more than bard?
I haven't played a sorcerer yet, which I would like to. I do really like clerics as well. I like the bookish nature of I like the self-learning. I like that you're kind of in charge of it. Again, Virgos are very easygoing. We're very chilled out.
And you like to power game, and wizards have
Yeah.
those mega powerful spells. Blue's obviously a power gamer. Big thank you to Fox, Katie, and possible ally for questions about character as well. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for sending those character questions in. I sort of truncated them into one question. So in the episode, you all went to the library for the first time and had some soup. What were your thoughts on eating soup at the library?
Who asked this? Are you asking this?
Yeah.
Onion soup.
Onion soup, yeah.
I didn't actually have the soup. But I liked that it was a component in a library.
Yeah. Seems comforting and homey.
Always good to add steam to a library. It's like a
Good
great
point.
idea.
Yeah, I didn't really mention that there was any ventilation or anything like that, so...
I know that Mary really liked the trunk sniffing up the soup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
as
Blue,
he was
you
making
encouraged me to add that detail, that as the trunk of the elephant person with the mustache eyebrow which I was very clear about that was a deliberate choice, scooped up the soup, it also wafted the soup through its trunk nose, which I don't really know how elephants actually work.
They work
Yeah.
like that. That's
Okay.
how. I don't know.
Was it not revealed that I don't know how elephants work when I put the mustache
Mustache
above
here?
the trunk?
Here. Right here.
Yeah. Let's see here. Zenith, thank you for subscribing. Zenith asks about our dice collections. Anthony, a lot of people have been asking about your dice tray. They want to see your dice tray. They're curious about it. Do you all have any dice that you love, that you want to show off, that you like? Here's a question. Do you have lucky dice? Do you have dice which you only use for specific characters? What's your dice stratagem?
I have dice for the stream that I have to have my old man eyes has to be able to see well. So they're very vivid numbers. That's the biggest thing that I have to be concentrating on, because I don't want to be having to squint at it too much.
That's very practical. Very
Yeah,
practical.
it's practical.
And
I don't
what
have
about-
my tower here, but I would
Yes.
show it. I will show it maybe on the next Sunday maybe.
All right. We're gonna have a dice tower reveal. We'll take 45 minutes and do that.
Your new dice tower?
Yes, it was a gift for Christmas.
Mine was a
Christmas
gift for
gift.
your birthday.
Yeah,
I gave Anthony.
Do we want to air this out right now?
I need to. I gave Anthony such a lovely dice tower and tray.
It was
2 years, a year ago, a year ago,
almost 2 years. What? A year and a half
Cat.
ago. Yeah.
a year and a half ago for your
Yeah.
birthday, and now Ken gave him another one, and mine has gone away to the garbage forever.
You know, in fairness, I did see Anthony using that dice tower when we started playing, and it was truly about to collapse. So
It was falling apart.
yeah, so
I'm sorry.
He
We
did
tried
try.
to glue things back together.
He did try.
And I was using Scotch tape, and that seemed really sad.
I'm really heartbroken about it.
I appreciate it.
But it was
It
one
remains.
of the loudest dice towers I think I've ever heard. Thank you for that question there. So after you went to the library and found this map, there was a trap which you were able to navigate pretty successfully, Rufus Blue. I was very impressed by that. And then you made it to this little ranger's house, and there you met Chalmerston, the crazy old furball. What were some lasting impressions you had of Chalmerston as he made an indelible impact on you in this campaign?
Oh, was he the one?
bloodthirstiness?
Yeah. He was
Yeah.
the one hunting hunters?
Yeah,
Yes?
now I will say, this is skipping forward a bit, but you all went off to the flail snail mating grounds, and then when you came back, he was like, "Oh, I'm talking to these two guys," and that was the sort of implied that he had murdered the third one. I had forgotten there were three. And you all really jumped to the conclusion, rightfully so, that
Yes.
his character had not lived up to the promise he had made and had murdered someone in his sleep.
Well, we for sure left 3 of them.
Yeah. So that was Chalmerston.
Frontier justice.
Oh my god. My cat just knocked over the dice I was going to show. Oh yeah, I had dice.
I did have a dice.
Let's see. Yeah, let's see your dice.
I have. Oh, go ahead.
What's your dice stratagem, Blue? Do you have character specific dice? Do you have game specific dice?
No, I kind of have everything in one spot, but I like to roll all of my d20s before we start and see if anything's rolling terribly. This little janky little metal one that I have always rolls well. I don't know why.
Okay.
And
Why
Blue
is it
admitted they
janky?
have
What makes
weighted
it janky?
dice.
I don't know. I think I got it from I don't remember where I got it from. It just kind of I don't know. It came
Okay.
out of nowhere. But then I have this other one that is the nat 1 is I don't know if you can see that. The nat 1 is a
Yes.
fuck and the
Amazing.
Mm,
nat 20 is a yeet.
yeah, that's good.
And
That's
my
good.
friend Bex gave this to me and I love it.
Amazing. I have a lot of dice and a lot of metal dice. I use this metal dice was like the first super nice dice that I got for myself. So I use that when I'm like starting something new. And then I got these dice to sort of match with a color palette of a character I was playing who was ambiguously good or bad. As Anthony knows, I love those characters. And so I use those dice as well when I'm really trying to like stir the pot. I really want to do something bad, I'll use those dice.
What dice do you use for Illyri in
I
our
bring
home
new ones
game?
all the time. Sometimes I bring these white ones. Sometimes if I'm feeling like I need to sort of for those who don't know, Illyri is the character I play in Anthony's home game. When I need to sort of steady the ship, I'll bring the classic coppers. So it just kind of depends on my mood, how much
Little did
trouble I
I
want to
know.
stir it. Yeah, you can look
Little
over
did I know there was any rhyme or reason to anything you did.
into my madness, and then of course I have these. Oh boy, these black obsidian dice when I feel like
Mm.
things are going really bad. That's when
Ooh.
I bring those out. Speaking of DMing and other games and stuff, we got a ton of questions about DMing and stuff like that, and we are 3 DMs. Sorry to put everyone on the spot, but Blue, there's no denying it any longer. We got a bunch of questions from our subscribers about like DMing. Care and was sort of curious, and I think this is like an interesting question, like how they talk about how they are used to writing like TV scripts and writing narrative things, and they're curious about how you're able to write something that might have multiple outcomes or have different story paths, or how do you sort of navigate moving through the D&D style story where sort of anything can happen, but also you kind of need to know what's happening as well. I'm curious. I need some advice. I'm clearly not very good at that. So what do you guys? What's your strategy for that when you're writing your story?
Well, at this point, now we've done 6. This is where I'm having trouble with my numb mouth. 6 sessions. That's a hard thing to say with numb tongue and mouth. I'm finding that I have like several possible paths that I think you guys might go down. So I have stuff prepped for all of those paths. But even with that, there's still stuff you do that I hadn't necessarily directly planned, but I feel like I have enough of a sense of what might be possible that I can feel like I can riff on it or go with you. So I don't feel like I have to be attached to any particular outcome. I like the idea that the outcome is uncertain and that the way that you might solve a problem or deal with things is chaotic. I like that part of it. I feel like my job as a DM is to put stuff in front of you guys and then respond to what you do with it. And then after every session, then I go and write myself notes on questions or ideas that come up based on what happened.
What about you, Blue? What's your strategy to deal with the uncertainty of what's possible?
I spent a lot of time with my players before we started actually playing the campaign, like having little sessions just talking about what they wanted from it and like what they enjoy most about the game, which I know for like the specific group of guys that I'm DMing for, a lot of it is improv. They all come from an improv background, so that was a big thing for it, and I knew there was going to be a lot of like comedy involved. That helped me a lot to kind of figure out the direction that each of them wanted to go in, and something that I could like not push them in that direction, but like just show them that it's there and like that it's built and ready for them. And then the rest of the time I spent prepping was just building a really deep lore of the world that I wanted to make And I felt more and more secure the more like layers I added to it.
Mm.
Like, okay, and this could end here, but actually no, there's another part and it keeps going this way. And then like rereading it and kind of learning the lore that I'd built so that any questions they had or anything they wanted to explore, there was already some part of it in my brain somewhere, even if it's like a children's story version of a history of something. But yeah, that helped a lot.
Very good. I think this is improv is a big part of it, which I think can be scary for a lot of people who haven't, been exposed to it before, or sort of aren't asked to do it on a semi-regular basis. Like we might have to be in improv in the most general sense, where it's not even, it's not even about being funny sometimes, just about coming up with stuff on the spot. That takes practice and takes some practice to get comfortable with. And then of course there's the problem that once you improv something, then you have to be like, oh God, like I have to incorporate that into my story. The other thing I think, in terms of like the difference between writing a narrative story for like TV or something and this, which is really fun, is that it really is so much about the journey. And a lot of the time it's less about the mystery and like the unraveling and then the answer, as much, at least from like a player side, as it is about like the thing that's right in front of you and how exciting and cool and like how to deal with this problem. And I feel like that is one way to kind of take some of the pressure off, is just like whatever is right in front of your players is probably what they're going to be invested in the most, and then slowly they can pull out these larger threads, and you can just, make those larger threads up as you go. They will have no idea.
Yes. I really do think of it as like a web, like this. I'm sure it's not an original metaphor, but like this strand over here does, when you pull on this strand, it does make this one go ping, ping, ping a little bit. And even if that one's not filled in all the way, then anything that happens here can actually make you fill it in cool, new, interesting ways you might not have even thought of based on what somebody does.
Yeah, it's nice to not overthink. Like I'm learning that right now, to not try to overthink how your players are going to figure those out. And like what are some fun, sometimes like stupid ways you can kind of put it in front of them.
Yeah.
And not worry too much about that reaction, because I got so stressed about like, is this going to be interesting or fun, or is this going to make them like freak out? And then I just found that like the littlest things I did would be, like very interesting to them, or they instantly wanted to go through it, or like were very surprised about, just because I had been overthinking all of it and it didn't seem like it was going to be that fun or that important. Yeah.
Any advice? This is a question coming from Lottie. Thanks for subscribing. Any advice for, new DMs or new players? Because I do think players also have a hefty responsibility to participate in the game as well. So for a new DM or for a new player, what advice would you give them?
Which they're very different sorts of advice. Well, the general advice is like lean into the moment and let it take you somewhere, and don't have to have it all figured out beforehand. I think that could apply to both sides.
I think that's good advice. Blue, do you have any really specific advice for this incredibly general question that I asked?
I mean, I can like zero in on a part of it for
Sure.
The player side, at least. Like, I feel that there's a lot of nerves going into it as a player, especially like maybe not coming from a theater or improv background, and this being one of the first times you're doing that. Weirdly, I found that a lot of people fear like being big, or like being loud, or talking a lot. And I actually, in my home game, we have a player who literally never speaks, and it's brilliant. Like, it's so brilliant. They're so angry as a character. They're just so I'm joking, unbothered and angry, and I love them. And I think the reason that it works is because it's still a really strong choice. It's not necessarily loud and boisterous and bardy, but it's still a very strong choice. So as long as like the choice, just stick to whatever choices you make, and that'll kind of carry you through without having to be constantly stressed about like getting a word in or something around that line. It doesn't, because not everybody has to be that, and it's not fun if everybody is loud and very talkative all the time.
It's probably true.
I feel like you're looking directly at me, Anthony, but whatever. Yeah, I think I think as a new DM, keeping it really simple is really useful. Don't try and build a multi-tiered city or 40,000 years of backstory. Have a town, have 6 people in the town, and have one thing you have to go do. Keeping it simple can be a really good place to start. And for a player, I also what's so funny because
I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
I did.
Meanwhile, Anthony's like, wait a second.
65 people.
Yeah, Anthony,
You
how
said
many
6 people in a town?
No, I'm saying like the 2 sessions ago, I played at least 30 NPCs throughout the course of the evening,
which was amazing for me because it would just felt like I could just like go through a Rolodex and be like, who do I want to talk to next? And just watch Anthony's heart race faster, which brings me a lot of joy. Yes. But it was great. But yeah, it's okay to keep it simple, and then you can just sort of be like, oh, you didn't see this house before, but now the light's on and there's a new NPC, Go ahead.
Or just give your players the advice of like, hey, one of you should take notes to keep track of stuff, but then it's for you, because I do that. Yeah. Sam, I'm sorry, but like it's great because I forget everything that I name people.
That's a good point.
And what
That's
I do.
A good point. Or just record the episodes and put them on the internet so everyone's like, you did. That's not what you said. You're right.
And I did a big prep thing for the last session, and I didn't write down what I'd prepped. And then in the session, my math brain went completely it leaked out of my ears, and they had to crawl through a tunnel because it was a short tunnel, and I'd figured out before, okay, this will take this such and such amount of time to do that kind of distance. And then in the session, I multiplied it by 10. So I told them it was going to take 10 times the amount of time, and it completely screwed up the whole thing. So when you prep things, write them down so that you have access to the information that you've prepped, and don't leave it to your brain, because when you're in the middle of running a session, your brain is so scattered and so caught up with so many things that it's hard to keep track of everything.
That's a good point, actually. Writing stuff down, how much you have planned ahead, what do you have written down? I use an application called Obsidian, which like sort of lets you link forward and link back, which I find simple. And I write quite a bit. I especially find myself writing like description blocks because it's something that I feel like in the moment I often I'm not as good at, I like to imagine myself as Matt Mercer being like, the smell and this, but really I'm like, there's a door, it's green, go inside, Sure. So I write that down because I find that's like a place where in the moment I tend to kind of come up short. Are there things that you both tend to like focus on in the prep because it gets lost when the game starts or something like that, or whatever question you can draw from that?
I just make sure that I have I use Notion, which does also link back and forth, and so that that I think this is a place where I think you're going to go, and it's a little block, and then there are the NPCs that I can link to from there. So I try to organize. It's like the most organized I've ever been. But I don't try to write extensive text because I don't want to have my face stuck in the iPad. I want to be present with everything. But that's my thing, that more than you guys.
I also use Notion, and it helps me a lot. You showed me Notion.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I like it. But I've been doing. I also don't like to write a lot of text because I get lost in it. But what I didn't mention before, I love music and games. If I could play every game with music, obviously right now is a time of Zoom and like it makes it much more difficult. Yeah. But getting to play this campaign in person so far safely with music, it's been like,
I know,
making my heart so happy. So that's what I have.
I miss music so much. It's funny, when we all started playing in 2020 and 2021, I kept trying to push music through the Zoom, and the mix was all off, and
Yeah.
Ian
It's
was like, "This
terrible.
is hurting my ears." But I wanted it so bad because I do find that music can be such a great element that
Yeah.
sometimes get lost over like the online games and stuff like that I really miss.
Yeah, it helps me a lot because that's what I do for character work too, is I use music. So when I'm like building stuff before we play, I will listen to the music that I want to use for certain parts during it, so that when I get to a part, I'll link the song, and once
Ooh,
the song starts playing, it kind of helps me subconsciously remember what the vibe was of like what's happening there.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's very very cool. And just one more shout out to Peter the Cat 20 and Gog Galore,
I love
who
that.
asked
Peter the
asked
Cat.
questions about DMing, which I hope we got to as well. So you all set up an ambush at this stream where you ambushed these. But what did you think about the place you chose? Because there was multiple options to like set up different places. What did you think of this place? Although you all rolled really poorly, so you didn't get to see a lot of options.
We didn't
I'm
look at
being
any of
mean.
the options.
Yeah, they were out there. I had them marked, but
Thank you for the prep work that you did, DM. That
Yeah,
never got
that was
used.
really
The
nice.
hours of work. The
yeah.
hours and hours of work.
Well, it all came down, but in fairness to you all, I did make you roll. So if it's really on me that you all rolled really badly. What did you think about how your ambush went?
I think that it was a little weird. The only thing that was weird is it was weird to figure out how we could surprise them from under the bridge when they were coming toward the bridge. But
Right.
other than that, I mean, it was good to feel like there was a little bit of a choke point, I think. But it happened pretty quickly. And then that
Yeah.
dude, the orc or half orc or whatever he was, he was mean.
He was pretty beefy.
And
Yeah, you got really injured.
he hurt me
I
very
wasn't.
badly.
I thought we would do better than we did. I feel like we got a little bit beat up.
Banged up.
Yeah,
Well,
but, you know, all right.
there haven't been, we've only had, it's still early goings, but there haven't been too many real drag out death door fights yet. That's something that I'm very much looking forward to.
Yes. But need we remember the disco, the like the home game version where you had like two incredibly deadly frost giant zombies
yeah.
that we essentially one-shotted that never laid a finger on us and that could have easily killed the party.
I spent a lot of time crafting those too.
I
They weren't
know.
just they were zombie ice giants. I spent and I was honestly, that's on me because I was like, there's these two lumps in the ground out in the thing, and Anthony's like, I look at them and I'm like, oh, yeah, they're definitely monsters. And he's like, well, I'm 500 feet away, so I'm just like, blew them up. Anyway.
I believe that they had an ability to look at someone and kill them
Oh, yeah. Wasn't that a thing?
or make them unconscious or freeze them. Like there's
I think
something
it
really
was something
extreme,
really
Crazy.
bad. Something really bad.
but they never got to do it.
But maybe I'll add that into the next monster. Just look at you and then not even 0 HP, just killed, dead. That's a good monster. Speaking of things that happen in the game, subscriber Admiral Ross 2400 asks. He says he's taken on the mantle of Bat Dwarf, which is like Batman but Bat Dwarf. What is the most ridiculous game that has happened? Ridiculous thing that has happened in a D&D game you've been playing in or DMing? Any forms of ridiculousness that stick out?
I had a. Oh, go ahead.
No, you.
Oh, this was like 2 weeks ago in our home game. It turned into like a half an hour conversation of, we'd found one of our players' uncles and he'd been killed. And there was like something, we needed his bones for something, like something to do with the arcane. And I forget exactly what it was, but that turned into a 30 or 45 minute discussion on the best way to like de-skin a man, and like whether like somebody found they had a bottle of acid halfway through, and they were like, acid, and somebody was like, no, and so it was just this
Oh,
horrible long conversation about how to like half in game like D&D fantastically how to do it, and also half in person because we have some like medical people in my friend group who like actually
Call
like,
the doctor.
our DM works in science, so like it was
oh my goodness.
Amazing.
the worst thing. Yeah.
Wow.
How to de-skin a man.
I don't know what's the
De-meat?
most
I just got a text from one of my players saying de-meat.
de-meat.
De-meat rather than
then.
de-skin.
De-meat, yeah, because you need to keep the skin. You just want to get rid of the meat.
Just the meat. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's pretty ridiculous that we killed those giants without them running through on us.
There you go.
That's pretty ridiculous.
I like that. Trekkie Mage, thank you for subscribing, Trekkie Mage. Trekkie Mage asks, if your characters had to sit for a portrait, how would they want it done? Any particular symbols or styles, formal and informal? Would it be outrageous, down to earth, etc.? What sort of art style, etc.? If they were going to sit for a portrait.
Etc.
I think Tizrin would sit in a meditative pose with his quarterstaff across his lap, and with his eyes open, and then like like an abstract background.
A bit sort of like a Michelle Obama with the leaves behind her.
Well, but that's a realist, but like something more like metaphysical.
Oh, I see. Do you think
Background.
Tizrin could sit still for that long?
Yes.
Okay.
No, he can be very disciplined and do that. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. What about you, Blue?
I think surface answer would be like in his family house in like one of their really lush like family gathering room chairs, maybe with like hamburger on shoulder, and then I think like
the Dutch masters.
yeah. But I think like internal wish would be like in family's garden.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Speaking of hamburger, we got to meet Hamburger for the first time last game.
Hamburger.
Hopefully we'll get to know Hamburger deeper as we continue. Blue, will you tell us a little bit about who Hamburger is? What kind of reptile you imagine them as?
You explained it really well when we brought him into the game, because I do feel like it's the one thing about Rufus's, what people immediately see about Rufus that just looks a little bit janky is his lizard, and the way that you explained, the way that you described Hamburger was perfect. Like different shaped eyes, just a little bit off, a little just crooked looking for a lizard in general.
Maybe got ran over by a cart but survived, kind of
Yeah,
deal.
and weirdly still looks weird, even though it is a familiar that I can summon and create. Somehow still looks a little bit fucked up.
Interesting.
I really like that for him. Eats meat.
Well, there would be lizards that would
beef.
eat meat.
That's true.
I was
Komodo dragons,
surprised
for instance.
when you fed Hamburger a hamburger. I was like,
Yeah, you thought
what
it
kind
was-
of dark magic is this?
He's only named Hamburger because Noah suggested hamburger. I was thinking of like Ethel, Bernadette, and Noah was like, hamburger? And I said, okay.
I don't know why I've taken such control over this creature. It's really bad DMing, honestly.
No, I like it a lot.
But you created the name Jeeps, right, Blue?
I did.
And you describe Jeeps as someone from the Princess Diaries, right? Is that right?
Yeah, the bodyguard in the Princess is it Princess Diaries?
When you texted me who this was, it was like, oh, well, obviously it's the bodyguard in Princess Diaries. Like, I would know exactly who you were talking about.
I'm surprised that you don't.
There you
Do
go.
I need
I
to
mean,
look him up? What's his
no,
name? Hang
I
on.
did look him up. People in chat are saying Joe or maybe Lars.
I think it's
Uh,
Joe, Princess. I'm looking this up because it's very important to me. Bodyguard. It is Joe.
Joe.
Yeah, it's Hector Elizondo role.
Hector Alonso. Joseph. Yes, everyone
It's
in chat is
classic.
screaming it's Joe.
Mm.
Thank you, chat. It's,
They
Are you
have
allowed to say what class Jeeps
Jeeps.
is?
Jeeps is not a class. Jeeps is a custom stat block
Mm.
that I made for him
I don't
because
even know it.
I very quickly realized that Jeeps was going to be everywhere, and he was either going to be a cool fighting butler or be a dead butler very
Yes.
quick.
Yes.
So I sort of made that call.
I'm here to protect you, sir.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love
Um,
him.
do you think Jeeps will ever get a glass of wine, or is that sort of off the table for Jeeps?
No, he will. He will.
Okay.
He's my best friend.
Yeah, yeah. For now, you're making new friends.
Yeah.
You all then you finished off these poachers, killed a couple of them, one with a big old stone, which I believe Herman Lerman did. Um, and then you went to the flail snail mating site.
Yes.
How was it seeing flail snails in their mating ritual?
I can't imagine that there's animals that deconstitute themselves in order to spawn. That's wild.
It was so cool. It made me tear up a little bit. It was very like Miyazaki-esque the way that
Mm.
you described it, and it made my brain happy.
What did you think when you sort of had this flash of a vision when you touched the liquid?
My immediate thought was that Noah's gonna fuck me up, and I did not know we'd thought that far into the future about things, and now I'm scared. Uh, I don't actually know, but it was exciting because I don't know. Like and we since this is like a 4-person operation, this whole stream, and we've like
Mm-hmm.
Noah and I especially have talked quite a lot about this campaign, and even about Rufus. But the fact that I didn't have an immediate idea of what that was really exciting to me. Because I feel like you've had a lot of input on Rufus that I've asked for, so like there's been a lot of connection there, but I don't actually know what that was.
Amazing, thrilling. Um, After that, you all went back to Chalmerston, who had, I guess, completely murdered and disappeared one of the poachers, but whatever. And then you all said goodbye to, and we all said goodbye to Herman Lerman,
Yes.
who canonically actually died on the train ride down, sadly.
No.
Yeah, I'm joking.
That was the best thing I've ever seen. Was that the last
Yes.
3 minutes of our stream?
Anthony, a lot of people were curious about Mary making you break so hard.
Yes.
There also people are curious about how tired your face gets, staying in character the whole time. Could you talk about your experience both of keeping your face in Tisrin and also how Mary made you break at the end of the stream last time?
Honestly, my face it does pretty well. Like I'm not really conscious of it taking a lot of like weird muscles to do. And I just enjoy living in that world of like the way that I think, especially birds look around. I don't know, just something about it that really works for me. But I appreciate that people dig it. In terms of Mary, the fact that the it was just the call. I don't know why it was that moment, but the number of times she called back, calling us children, something about it just destroyed me in that moment, and I completely lost it.
What do you think made Tisrin feel this kind of love for Herman Lerman? Was he getting called a child? What was it?
No, it was seeing the incredible dedication to his work that Herman Lerman had, and the wonder with which he, like that kind of like dedication and loyalty to the snails was really beautiful to behold. and then how fiercely he protected them. That's something I think that resonated very, very powerfully for
And he
people.
did calisthenics with you.
Yes, yes, in the calisthenics, yes, the also all of the above. And I want to be clear that I don't think it's romantic
No,
love.
I don't
It
think
was,
anybody got that.
yeah, it's like pure, just like loving Herman
Yes.
for who he is.
Yes. Yes. Well, I think it's now time for us to choose our next round of classes.
Oh, right.
Ian did, here, wait, hold on, everyone. Here we go. We're going to go to class view. So if you all pull up your thing, we of course have the Astromundi College. We have What Lies Above by Anatolis. We have Telescopic Lenses 101 by Eck. We have Futuronic Probabilities in the Present by Glor the Star Definer. We have Constellations, Windows to the Past by Holofernes. In Keelan College, we have The Natural World and Its Gifts by Ansel. We have Dwelling Engineering 1 by Baskin. We have Understanding Beasts and Monsters by Kress. And we have a new class from River the Understanding called Resurrection Without Diamonds. In Scanlonian College, we have we have a new class from Galaxica called Circadian Rhythms, Sleep, Dreams, and Dance, which I can't believe I wrote. We still have stage lighting by, oh boy, Kalak Kakakak. We still have stage lighting by Kalak Kakakak. Performance divinity. Oh, and this is actually the class that Ian chose, which is Performance Divinity and the Arcane Weave. This is the next class that Tuyen will be taking by Kirkaboom. A new class from P.A. Witherthorn called Stagecraft and the Arcane, Lessons in Restraint. And then at the Bailey School, we have Top Notch Taverns, Safe Shopkeeping, and Indestructible Inns 1 by Big Jim, Estate Management and Ruin Avoidance Techniques by Constance Evergrey, Gold, A History by Greta Goldscale, and lastly, Exotic Treasures, Items, Scrolls, and Tombs by Lorelei the Collector. So Ian is going to do Performance Divinity and the Arcane Weave by Kirkaboom.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, wait, to show that up, I just turned back. Blue. Put that back up.
It was Hector Elizondo the whole time.
Put it back up, Blue. You weren't on stream. Let's see it.
Dear God.
That's
I've been
Jeeps,
holding this up
everyone.
for so long.
Nobody was seeing it.
God damn.
All right. That's what Jeeps looks like. I was thinking about adding a Hector Elizondo emote, but I hadn't explained that that's what Jeeps looks like. So it
Oh,
didn't
can
make
we
any
please
sense.
do that?
But I'll add a new emote of Jeeps.
I'd like Understanding Beasts and Monsters.
Understanding Beasts and Monsters. Who teaches that class again?
Crec, or not Crec, but
Cress.
Cress.
Cress, that's
Crec?
right. Cress. And what about Rufus? What class is Rufus?
I need to double check because I was holding up Hector Elizondo for that entire time.
Like, why isn't he responding?
I literally
Nothing. This is a great joke. Nothing.
Oh, I wanted to do Understanding Beasts and Monsters.
All right. You know, it is shocking. You both joined the Arboretum work study, and now you're both doing Understanding Beats and Monsters. And I would remind you both that if you study a bit of homebrew, if you study for the same class together, you get advantage on your studying roles. Isn't that absolutely thrilling? I could just see the joy and excitement and wonder wash over your face, Blue.
No, Rufus will not study with Tisserand. I'm so sorry. I want to.
We will explore what is undoubtedly going to be the controversy of the next episode. This is shocking. This is drama. This is power. Anything else before we wrap up today's discussing Dungeons and Dragons with the doofuses? Oh, I forgot this whole thing. I don't really have a good call for it yet. Somebody suggested flails and snails. Like flails is good, snails is bad. I don't know.
Oh, like in reference to what?
Well, like if you
Highs
try
and
to pick like a
lows.
highlight and like a low light,
Oh,
or like something you really liked in the episode, but something you wish you could have redone or would have done differently, or would have liked to discover more if there were more time. I'm trying to think of how to name that. So we'll keep brainstorming that. But if you were going to pick a a good and a let me see this. Uh, uh, what would you call it? And I do also want to shout out Fragrance Free Vaseline, one of our amazing mods, who asked if you were bitten by any type of were animal, what would it be, and why would it be a were whale? There's not a question in there. It's just were whale. But thank you, Frag, for all you do. You are an amazing mod, and we love you. Everyone.
Whales don't have teeth.
what if you were on land?
They have the rills. They have the.
What about
Oh,
like an
yeah.
orca?
They're not
What if
whales.
you were on land?
Orcas aren't. Oh boy,
They're
I'm
not
gonna have to
whales.
change the whole campaign.
They're not
dolphins.
whales.
They're not whales. They're dolphins. They're
Orca
like in the
whale.
they're in the family of.
Here we go. What about this? Whales and dolphins. Whales are good. Dolphins are bad.
That's very mean to dolphins.
All right. Any
I guess
highlights?
it's a tooth. Now I'm looking. It says it's a toothed whale,
It is a whale, orca whale.
but it's
All right.
belonging to the oceanic dolphin family. So
Okay, but it's a whale. You say orca
yeah, but
whale.
you know, it's you know.
What about
I don't know.
what about filtering whales? Tooth whales. How's that? We'll keep brainstorming.
Whales.
We'll keep brainstorming.
Oh boy.
Highlights and lowlights. Anything that comes to mind, or should we just end this before I hold you both hostage too much longer?
Jeeps and no, I don't know.
Oh no.
Anthony gave up. We'll keep working. Mainly the highlight and low light was trying to come up with a name for it. We just have to have a good name, and then it'll really kick off. Go ahead, Blue.
Oh no, highlight was Mary at the end.
No. He's saying what would we call the segment? What's the title of the segment?
Oh, I was just doing the segment.
You can just do the segment.
Yes. Highlight Mary.
Highlight Mary. Highlight Mary. Definitely a highlight.
Yeah. And Lola. I wish we'd spent more time in the sanctuary. I would have liked to look around more. We spent a good chunk of our time trying to convince that fucking dude to not kill these people. Like we spent too long of a time
And then
because
didn't
he just
do it
sat
'cause
there
I goddamn
like
forgot.
you just sat there smiling, and it was like you definitely don't understand what we're saying to you, or you're like thinking of something else.
That's a fantastic answer, Anthony. Highlight Wiseman. Any
Well, I
less
think the
lights?
Tizrin felt very bad about getting so knocked around, but I think that's still it's like a highlight of sorts, but
Yes,
it's still a low light for Tizrin's.
I think that counts.
Yeah.
Some people in chat have suggested Jeeps and Creeps.
Yes.
Jeeps and
I
creeps.
think that-
Why don't we work with that?
Jeeps
Jeeps,
and creeps.
And creeps.
Creeps.
And creeps.
My Jeeps was that. Gosh, what was my Jeeps? My Jeeps was actually probably one of the things I really liked was how you all got the book by like when Mary stepped in and immediately was like, I'm kind of a big deal to the librarian. I thought that was really good because I had like a whole puzzle set up where you had to like read a name in a different language and it was going to be a riddle and that would tell you which book. And I just really loved that Mary was like, I'm kind of a big deal. And was like, oh yeah, well, I'll just give you the book then. So that was amazing. And I think my creeps was, I did have now this may shock everyone, but Mary really likes like word puzzles and riddles. Now I can't do words at all, but I did put a word puzzle in the game, which we sort of ran out of time for. So my creeps would be not getting to do this word puzzle for Mary, which would have been basically me being like, I've done this wrong and you've all pointed it out to me and we'll just sort of move on.
Yeah.
And I think with that, we will wrap up our discus. See, that's what I'm saying. That's literally it. Our disco discusses Dungeons and Dragons. We will see you all this Sunday for episode 4. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for being here. Thank you especially to all of our subscribers. We so appreciate it. And if you're not in the Discord already and you are a subscriber, make sure to hop in there because we are having quite a bit of fun.
We love the art so much, and
We love the
everybody
art.
who made the Herman book art
Yes.
it was incredible. Made me
We
really
love
happy.
the art and we see it all. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you on Sunday. Bye, friends.
Bye.